Hey, London, I'm over here going. I'm like, did I hear him in my ear? But joining us now, four-time NFL Pro Bowler London Fletcher, a guy who I looked up to for many, many years in the league. The Iron Man, I call it, 256 consecutive games played in 16 NFL seasons. But the question I have for you, London, is it starts more of the position you played, linebacker. And you look at a guy, and I know you watched him when he first came into the league. For 7 years, he manned the middle for the Cincinnati Bengals. Some people call him dirty. Some people call him hard-nosed. Some people call him tough. He's moving on. Vontaze Burfict, released by the Bengals. He signs with the Raiders. If there was something that you can say to Vontaze Burfict now as a Raider, what would you tell him, London?
Well, I would first and foremost, I mean, he has to learn how to control his emotions and learn how to play within the rules. The dirty label that he's been tagged with during his time in Cincinnati, a lot of it was earned. Some of the hits and things that he's done on the football field, there's just no place for it in football. And we played the middle linebacker position. We played the linebacker position. We understand being physical and sending messages and doing all that type of stuff. But you also have to know how to do it within the rules of the NFL if you're going to be on the field and not cost your team and not cost yourself money. And he's been fined an awful lot of money over the years. So that would be the first thing I would tell him to do. Yeah, be physical, but play within the rules because, his reputation precedes him, and he's not going to get the benefit of the doubt in any questionable situation when it comes to hitting someone.
London, throughout their 16 seasons, look, early in your career, you're able to do everything. You're an every down linebacker. You never really came off the field. Even in your later years, you're still able to play at that high level. But as we start to get into, I call the bargain of free agency, you start to get players who just fill a role. They're not necessarily your every down guys, but I look at a signing like a Clay Matthews. You look at Vontaze Burfict as well. Some of these other players who are signing right now at this point in free agency, how do you have to change your game when you get up in those years where you're not the same player that you once were in the beginning of the career?
Well, you have to first and foremost, check your ego because the thing about us players, man, we want to play every single down, especially when it comes to defensive players. And you're like, man, I want to play all three downs as a linebacker. Well, you have to understand, and I think New England does it great as far as finding people to play situational roles. And it may be a situation in New England where a guy may not even dress for the game. Like, hey, this week your role is going to be on the bench and cheer everybody on, and then the next week you may play 80% of the game. That's where guys have to get that maturity and understand. I'm still playing in the game, and when they're truly placing the team goals ahead of their own personal goals, that's how you can accept that and make that adjustment and know, hey, whatever my role is, I'll play it and I'll play it well.
Four-time NFL Pro Bowler London Fletcher joining the Rich Eisen Show. Kirk Morrison filling in for Rich. You can also follow him on Twitter at LFletcher59. And, the one thing, London, that you've been a part of some teams that going into the offseason, expectations were low, and you exceed them. But all of a sudden, you look at a team like the Browns, and now the expectations went from being just win a game or two to now they go 7-8-1 a year ago. Now people are talking about the Super Bowl. How do you handle those expectations now for a team that, look, they haven't been there before? How do you handle those? Or what do you need to talk about within that locker room to taper those expectations?
Man, I'm from Cleveland, so I grew up a diehard Browns fan. My family, they're all diehard Browns fans, and I'm getting texts of pictures with Baker Mayfield holding up the Super Bowl trophy all of a sudden and all kinds of crazy stuff. And I'm just like, hold on, let's just curb the enthusiasm, so to speak. Let's make the playoffs first.
Right.
That's the first goal. I think what the Browns have to understand, the expectation, you can't get caught up in reading those press clippings. And yeah, on paper they're a really good football team. They've improved in a lot of ways, but you have to go out and earn each and every win. You have to go out and earn the victories. And, the game is not played on paper. Nobody's gonna just lay down for the Cleveland Browns. If anything, a target's going to be on their back now where they're not going to be able to surprise anybody. Teams are going to come in, looking to play the Browns their best. So they have to come in and day out, work hard as well. It starts now during this offseason, and, guys are all excited. Yeah, we traded for Odell Beckham Jr. Baker's in his second year. They traded for Olivia Vernon, some of the other moves that they made to add to that roster, but they got to put in the work, and you got to come in and work extremely hard in order to earn those preseason accolades.
A guy who put in the work for over 16 NFL seasons, London Fletcher, joining the Rich Eisen show. And now, London, the one thing that we keep looking at the Patriots, and everybody kind of just sits back and watch them kind of operate throughout the offseason. They don't have the big, giant splash signings. They kind of sit back while everybody else has this flurry of signings, and they sit back and they just wait and they wait. And all of a sudden they pick up a guy here. They draft a guy here. You watched them in the Super Bowl, London. What do you think for them now moving forward? Okay, the Patriots, they lose another coach in Brian Flores. What do you see from this team and why they continue to keep doing outside of Tom Brady, but why do they continue to keep being this successful?
Bill Belichick. I mean, it starts and ends with him. Belichick, he sets the standard for the entire organization of how they're going to operate. The Patriot way really is the Belichick way. That's how he's built his football team. Played in the same system for 19 years, so they know what type of players they need. They're not constantly changing from a 3-4 to a 4-3, a new offensive system, things like that. Tom's been in the same offense his whole career. That scheme they've been doing, for 19 years, so they can identify players and say, hey, man, this guy may not be great on another team, but we can use him in a role. And you talked about guys accepting roles. And, they'll sit back and go through the first, second, third wave of free agency and add, a guy who is a productive veteran who may not be an every down player anymore, but he can produce for us, and that's what they do, and they do it better than anybody else. And they'll continue to be, one of the favorites to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl.
Joined out by London Fletcher on behalf of United Airlines and DirectTV. Before I get to that, though, London, I do want to ask you about just watching the Super Bowl this past year, just because I know you were part of that St. Louis Rams team that had won a Super Bowl, and you were a young player on that squad. I know you had some guys, the Marshall Faulks and Kurt Warners and young Torrey Holtz and all those guys. What did you remember about winning that Super Bowl and the emotions of seeing the Rams back in the Super Bowl this year?
Oh man, those were the best times. I was a young guy myself. I was only in my second year in the NFL when we won that Super Bowl. So I'm just like, man, we're on top of the world. Life is good. We got some of the best players in football at some of the positions, and the explosive offense that we had, the dominant defense that we had. We're thinking, man, the what I remember most is the journey that we went through that season. Just winning all those games and being doubted early in our season, where hey, these are the same old Rams. They're not going to keep this up, and playing in that NFC Championship game with the battle against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and then obviously the tackle that Mike Jones made to win that, man. It was just a surreal season, and then to see the Rams back in the Super Bowl playing the Patriots, who I was actually a part of that team that lost to the Patriots back in years ago in that Super Bowl when Brady won his first Super Bowl. So I was on that team, so those memories came back, and I can remember walking off that field feeling sad. So it brought back a lot of memories, good and bad.
London, you speak of the journey, and you're joining us on behalf of United Airlines and DirectTV. Tell me what you got going.
Well, so United Airlines and DirectTV, they've come together to offer all their customers, like myself, the opportunity to have live television on United's fleet of over 200 planes with seatback DirectTV. So everybody on those planes, they can enjoy free live television, man. Who doesn't like free? For us, I don't know about you, but sometimes I'm traveling during the NFL season or during a time where a game or a show is on that I want to watch and I can't watch it. But now, if you're on one of United's planes with seatback DirectTV, you'll be able to watch those shows or that game for free. And then, in addition to offering free live television, United customers can now enjoy complimentary onboard entertainment by accessing the airline's collection of over hundreds of movies and TV shows available on your personal devices through the United Airlines United app. They can go to united.com to find out more information about this. But this is a great partnership between United Airlines and DirectTV, and I love it. I'm sure all of United customers will love it as well.
Yeah, and now you can watch the Rich Eisen show now on DirectTV on the plane as well on United. So
absolutely,
there you go.
Absolutely,
it works both ways, man.
I'm a big fan of the show.
Always, hey, London, man, appreciate the time. Always enjoy watching you play and keep up with all the work that you're doing. I watch you on Sundays in the mornings as well. It's bright and early on Sundays, but
yeah.
hey, London, I appreciate the time, man. Have a good one.
All right, thanks a lot.
Four-time NFL Pro Bowler London Fletcher there joining us on behalf of United Airlines and DirectTV.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.